Hello everybody and welcome to my updated SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom lag clipping tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going over art skip, goo cage clip, Poseidome clip, and drain the lake clip. So first thing you want to know is when you get a cruise boost you don't want to be holding forward when you get it, because if you do that then you'll have a faster cruise boost than if you were to do a cruise boost with the stick in neutral position. So whenever you're doing a lag clip, for the most part, make sure your stick is in neutral position because you don't want that extra speed from holding forward. Now the second part is getting your downward momentum. So what you do for art skip is you would bash off of puff, or if you have trouble landing on puff, you could bash off this rock or something. I don't know, but it's easier and faster to bash off puff. What you don't want to do once you land on the ground is wand, because wanding kills your speed. You also don't want to jump again, because jumping will kill your momentum. Everything you do on the ground after you land will kill your momentum. Wanding, jumping, bowling kills your cruise boost as well. One thing that doesn't kill your downward momentum, though, is using the cruise missile or hitting L. That doesn't kill your downward momentum. So just a heads up, that's the one thing you can do while you're on the ground. Now for the part that people don't like, which is the mashing. I find it easier to put the right side of my controller on my thigh like so, kind of get it in a 90-degree angle here, as opposed to holding it like this. I tilt it like that. Now for hitting the buttons, you don't want to actually be hitting them with the base of your thumb really, like this. Because for the original Xbox controller, the start and select buttons are pretty deep into the controller. They're not like A and B. They're jutted out a bunch. They're really deep into the controller, so it's kind of hard to hit them with your thumbs like that. So what I do is I use my fingernails, and I just cut them today, so it's still possible, you know. What I use is my fingernails, and I don't press them like this. While it is faster, you can already tell. You actually kind of get a good grip on the controller like this, and just kind of vibrate your hands against the controller in a start select. If you do them at the same time, you can't really get that rhythm, and it's a lot slower. So find a comfortable position for you. Like I said, I like to rest it on the thigh, grab it like this, vibrate your two thumbs. Your nails are the important part. Even if you have really short nails like this, I just cut them, so still possible. Just got to make sure your nails are in the control and you're vibrating. You're not pushing. Pushing's really slow. Even if you get a fast rhythm with pushing, it's not going to get you anywhere. Just vibrate. Alright, anyway. Get your cruise boost. Make sure your stick's in neutral position. Get the bash. Camera setup is pretty important. Don't have your camera over here because there's no objects. You want to have it over here where you see the sleepy time, you see the sign, the painting, everything's over here. Get SpongeBob around here. It really doesn't matter where he's standing for this clip. I'll sometimes go over here, I'll sometimes go over here, wherever he ends up. So yeah, just start mashing L until you see the animation come out. That animation right there is what you're looking for. So once you see it starting up, start to mash pause and select. You'll clip through the floor. And for this clip, you're going to grab that purple shiny. You don't even have to be that close to it. You could be like over here and grab it. You're going to grab it because the shinies go to you, right? They come to you. We'll do that again for demonstration. Make sure your stick's in neutral when you get the cruise boost. Stand like, doesn't matter, you can stand over here if you want. You'll clip through. And another way of doing this, you don't even have to wait for the animation to start. You can just mash L and select and start. You don't even have to wait for the animation. Although it is easier, in my opinion, to do the animation. I'll wait till that stops. So yeah, you can just mash L and start and select. And yeah, you can also talk to her when you're up there. Yeah, there you go. I think I started with this one because I think Puff Puff Pass is the easiest one. It's called Puff Puff Pass. art clip or whatever, art skip. I think this one's the easiest out of all of them. We're gonna definitely be doing easiest to hardest. So yeah, just wait for the animation. Start vibrating the controller. The great thing about this lag clip is even if you miss it, you can try it again until you get it. So you're not losing that much time if you miss it. Just kind of be confident with it. Make sure you're doing everything right. Make sure you're not wanding when you land, because when I first started to learn lag clips, I would always wand and then hit L and be like, wow, I'm mashing pretty fast. Why can't I clip under? But, you know, wanding kills all your momentum. You have to be very mindful of stuff that kills all of your downward momentum. Wait for the animation. Make sure your camera's set up appropriately. Like I said, it doesn't really matter where you're standing. It just matters where the camera is, your momentum, and your mashing. It doesn't really matter where you're standing for this one. Alright, this next lag clip is going to be Graveyard Lake Cage Clip, or GCC, whatever you want to call it. The cool thing about this one is it's super easy to set up, and in my opinion it's the easiest, but I feel like everyone should start with art skip, because this one's a little later into the game, and you also have a little less ground to work with, because if you fall off this cage, you can't get back up with your downward momentum. You'll still have it when you're down here, but remember, if you jump onto the cage, your downward momentum's gone. So I do this one after Puff Puff because this one's less beginner friendly, but in my opinion, I think it's the easiest. So start by getting a cruise boost off this box, and what you're going to do is stand near this rock or whatever, and I usually turn my camera while I'm doing it when I'm in the air. Double jump right there. Make sure your camera's right here. What I usually do is I like to see half of the Duplicatotron, and what I used to do is hold L and wait for this animation when he turns around. But I wouldn't recommend starting with that. I'd recommend hitting L until you see the animation and then start mashing. See what happens. I just fell off, so I'd have to go back up and get my cruise boost again. Double jump, or you could Viking helmet, but double jumping gets the job done. And you just kind of wait for the animation to play, and you clip. There's also a way of doing it without even double jumping. You can get the clip. I wouldn't recommend doing this because it's kind of just for show. It barely saves any meaningful time. If you're desperate or something, you can hold down, and you falling will just get you enough downward momentum. You don't even need a jump. You could do it super fast. What I've seen runners like Keys do is get a cruise boost in midair, just jump down and just clip through. So you could say you spawn about here. So if you get a cruise boost in air, go down here, just clip through. Like I said, the camera on this one doesn't really affect it too much. Make sure you're not over here, because you're not going to get anywhere with here. Make sure it's over here, but it could be here, here, here. Like, this one is honestly one of the easier ones. Oh yeah, I don't think I have any momentum, but definitely the easiest to learn and practice. But like I said, you have less room to cover. Just make sure you're using all the techniques. Make sure your stick's in neutral position. Make sure your camera's set up correctly. And you'll clip through almost every time. You just have to make sure you practice mashing. You have to make sure you practice the grip, where your controller is, and the vibration is key. You have to really know how to time it. It just becomes second nature at times. Like, after you put time into it, you could just on the fly. So let's move on to the next lag clip. The next lag clip is Poseidome clip, only used in NG+, 100% and NG+. This requires fast mashing, good timing, and good manipulation, but there's not a lot of manipulation in this. It's kind of just a mindless lag clip, but you have to make sure you're mashing pretty fast and make sure your camera angle's correct. So the first thing you're going to do is cruise boost off of the wall straight ahead. Again, making your stick in neutral position. Stand about right here so when this left bar fades away from the screen, then go left when she's about to jump, and jump at the peak of your jump here. Mash L till you see the animation, and you'll clip through. For this one, after I start seeing the animation, I'll wait about maybe a third of a second to let the animation play out, because I find it if I start mashing right when the animation plays, then the game lags while I pause, and you don't want lag while you pause. You want to make sure you're mashing and there's no lag popping out. So I'll show you that again. Again, this is used in only a few categories. It's not as useful as art skip and GCC. Just make sure your camera's about here. Animation. See, once you do the animation, the camera zooms in. Once it zooms in, start mashing. So we'll do it again for you guys. Make sure your grip's good, you got the vibration good. Make sure you got a good handle on the controller. Make sure your stick's in neutral. Make sure everything that I told you about the previous lag clips is the same for this one. Alright, yeah, so I wouldn't worry about this one too much unless you plan on running NG plus 100. But it's something you never know. You might need to know one day. So maybe give it a few goes if you're good at it. Maybe you don't need to practice it much. If you're not too good at it, maybe you want to put some time into it if you plan on running NG plus 100%. But that's about all for this one. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. It's a really simple lag clip. There's not much going on. The downward momentum's simple because she throws you so high into the air, and all you have to do is jump at the peak and get even more. So that's about it for this one. I'm going to show you the last and hardest lag clip coming up right now. So this last lag clip is Drain the Lake clip. This is used in pretty much every category. Optimally, it saves a fair amount of time, and it's definitely agreed to be the hardest lag clip in the game, other than Industrial Park clip, which isn't even viable on OG Xbox and TSC. So I'd say this in my NG Plus route is the hardest trick in the game, which is why it's nice that it's in the first 10 minutes of the game. First 5 minutes, actually. This one is more of an advanced lag clip. It's a lot different than the other ones that I just explained. You're going to be mashing L and start and select, but you got to time it so you're kind of doing L when you're unpaused. So it'd be like, if that makes any sense. Now, it's kind of good because for this kind of lag clip, you don't have to worry about your cruise boost speed. It has to be the full speed cruise boost. And for this one, his position isn't all that important, but camera angle is definitely important. So yeah, I'll give it a shot here. Your hand does not have to be disabled for this. So what I do is I jump on this patch of grass right here, double jump here, bash off, camera back here, turn around. I start mashing here, and slam. Make sure your camera's zoomed in here. And yeah, you might be grabbed sometimes if you're on the sand for too long. So the key is to slam above the sand dunes. And so you don't want to slam when you're near the sand dunes, because even if you're in that animation, the hand is still counting down. So you want to make sure you slam when you're way above the sand dunes, like right over here. Zoom in your camera so you could turn easier, and you land up here. So let me show you that again. I'm going to break it down. Don't worry. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. But I will say this one requires the most amount of practice, because you're not going to get this your first try. It's going to take you a long time to even get close to getting this one. I remember my first time trying to get this one, I felt super discouraged because I never even clipped through the floor before. But once you get that down of hitting L while you're doing start and select, it's a lot easier. So I usually stand over here, and my camera's like, let me get these guys out of the way. Camera's like this. So what I look for with the camera angle, it's not that specific. Make sure it isn't over here, because there's barely anything. Make sure it's over here where there's a bunch of terrain and stuff. That little wine cap right there, I make sure it's like at least visible, you know. SpongeBob's facing this way. Obviously you don't want him facing this way because he's going forward, so that wouldn't help. You want to make sure he's facing this way, so he's going toward that little island over there. Once again, you have to have a full speed cruise boost. So in runs you would do crab's boost or you would RCB off of this down here, or you could regular cruise boost off of this. It doesn't really matter. The RCB though gives you the best angle because you could just run up straight ahead and do the jump. So if you miss it, it'll probably look something like this on your first attempts. It's probably going to be like this. You're going to mash slow because it's awkward to hit the L button and start and select it first. You're going to hit the goo. You're going to drown. Missing this loses about 20 to 15 seconds, depending on how fast you can recover the cruise boost and get over there. If you do enable the hand, I know some categories have the hand enabled at this point. So if you accidentally enable the hand trying to turn, that's fine if the category has the hand already enabled, but if it's disabled when you do this, for example in NG Plus we do this right at the beginning so the hand's disabled. If you re-enable the hand, your run's probably dead. If this happens to you, I'll show you in a sec. This might happen to you quite a bit because this used to happen to me a lot. So you would go do it, you would get like an early clip or whatever, and then maybe you would hit your head on this invisible wall and then you'd fall here. Now, if you fall there, you don't have a warp back. Like, yes, I have a warp, but on your first run of the day, you're not going to have a warp, so your run's basically over. Like I said, this is the hardest lag clip and most advanced lag clip in the game, in my opinion. It's going to take a lot of practice, but it pays off. It saves a lot of time. If you're doing 100%, you cut out the entire Drain the Lake fight. If you're doing NG+, you're saving some time over doing Lighthouse instead. And this is at the very beginning of the run, so even if you reset, you have a chance to do multiple runs. The key is to make sure you're timing your L in between your start and select, so you get that rhythm. Rhythm's very important for this one. Just kind of make sure you're hitting L a lot. You want to just make sure you're hitting it a lot when you're hitting start and select. And I know it can be really hard at first, trust me. I've been there. I was like, how am I supposed to hit this fast enough? But you really don't have to mash start and select that fast. You really don't. It's just hitting the L is really important for this trick. If you guys enjoyed the lag clip tutorial, make sure to comment if I helped. I'm trying to help people that are really good at the game but just struggle with lag clipping. Lag clipping's hard. Don't feel discouraged by it. It's still fairly new, and it takes a long time to get used to. Just practice what I told you. The fingernails, it's really important. Vibrate the controller. Don't press them. Make sure you're getting the cruise boost without moving the stick forward when you do it. It's very important to have a neutral stick position, and just practice a lot. You really need to practice a lot. Once you put in that time, you'll definitely see the outcome, and you won't have to practice them anymore. You can just do them on the fly. It's real simple. Hope that helped, and yeah, I'll catch you with some runs live on twitch.tv/conquerhacks. Later, gentlemen. Have a great day.